Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Today we are going to continue on the Blazer, making a custom E-Track cargo cover. So last time we worked on the interior panel and mounted our first section of E-Track. Now we're going to work on the toolbox that I had in there so we can have a spot to mount our second piece of E-Track. So this is kind of the original box that I had, and this kind of what gave me the idea of sticking some E-Track to it like so. Unfortunately, the way everything sits, this is too low. This will need to be up about here to be the same height. So what I'm going to do is modify this box for the 8,000th time and then get it to sit kind of flush with the top of this, and then we'll be able to mount our E-Track. Alright, got the toolbox modified, a little bit taller. It's kind of patchworky, but it should do the job. It probably would have been easier and looked better if I just started from scratch and made a completely new one, but this is what I got, so I'm going to run it. So yeah, just got to clean it down a little bit and then splash some paint on it. We'll stick it in. And just to confirm, it does fit. Now I've got some paint on the toolbox. I ended up using some bed liner to sort of match the rest of the vibe, so no more blue. But now I've got to put the E-Track on this side. Unfortunately, I can't just be all willy-nilly and just stick it like on that side. I've got to actually make it line up. So this is going to need to be the exact same height as the other side and the same distance front to back. So what I'm going to do is basically just take some string, tie it off, and see if I can't line up a few of those tracks and make some measurements. Then I'll put a couple screws in there, and then we can, carry on. Okay, so I've got my piece of string. If I give kind of a sight along it, I can tell that this side is just a little bit high. But at the same time, if I measure this, I've got 15.5 inches. And this is also reading 15.5 inches. So something might be a little bit crooked. This guy might be just a skosh high, so maybe there. Yeah, that looks better. Now I'm going to take the tailgate and close that, and I'm going to measure the distance between the string and the tailgate, and I can tell right now that I need to move that way far back. So you can see we're almost touching, and we're pretty far away. So we're about almost half a track width off. So I'm going to try again, move this back to here so it's almost flush, and then measure again. And there we go. That is looking pretty parallel to the tailgate. It'll focus, and yeah, so that looks pretty good. Now I'm just going to keep it at that front to back. Then we are going to measure the up and down again. Okay, so I've been getting some pretty inconsistent measurements trying to measure to the floor, so I decided to look up. So I'm measuring from the string to there. The main thing is that if I look at this string, it looks bang on. But if I measure, this side is a little shorter, so it's basically saying it's kind of cocked like that. But I measure to the top, and I've got 22 3/16, and 22 and just slightly over 1/8. So we're a 64th off. That is plenty good. I might just give this a tiny tap up, but I'm going to call that. So we're going to put a screw right there. And actually, I suppose what I'll do is I'll put a screw in it right now. I'm going to bias it slightly upwards, so that should pull it up that 64th. Beautiful. So now I'm just going to take my string. We're going to move it to a slot over there and do the same sort of measurement to put another screw in. All right, got the string reset, got it lined up, measured to the same spot. Basically where that rib just ends on both sides, and we are again within like less than a 64th. So I'm going to put a screw in there and then put all the other screws in there. So there we go, got it all in and then cleaned up everything. I did try to stick some wood on the back side because obviously I'm going to have those screws poking through and we don't want them to scratch or hurt anything that's on the inside of the box. But the screws weren't long enough and the wood fell off. So I'll probably replace those with some panhead machine screws, probably like number 10s, and then have some nuts on the back side. But that's going to be for later because, well, I can switch them out one by one pretty easily. So we are going to turn our attention to the platform in the middle. I've got a couple of these guys. These you can get at Harbor Freight or on the internet or wherever. These are E-track mount, like little sockets for mounting a beam, a wooden beam. So put that in like so. And then we can run a 2x4 or a 2x3 across there, and that's going to support our platform. Alright, it's kind of a mess in here. I've got obviously a 14 bolt, my engine hoist, and the platform. So this is the old one. I had a framework of 2x3s. You can see right there. That just sat on the floor. But now with this interior revival, I decided to upgrade. So we're going to dismantle this for its beams. Then we can, hopefully I can reuse this lid and I don't need to change the size on that. And we're just going to, well, put it in. Okay, it's the next day and I goofed. I thought it would be good to get 2x3s because that's what I made it out of before. Turns out 2x3s don't work. The brackets sit up just a little bit higher. But that doesn't mean I can't mock it up and show you. So I'm going to have to go back to the store and get some 2x4s. But you can see what's going on. Basically keeping the same sort of thing I had before. Single piece in the middle that pivots. I've got hinges back there that aren't attached yet, and then a piece right here that's fixed in place. But yeah, the big issue is this bracket is just a teensy bit taller. Not much, but just enough. So I might actually have a 2x4 kicking around, but we'll see. Anyway, yeah, so you can see that covers that up all nicely, and then close the tailgate and everything's nice and hidden. The one downside that I got to do to modify this is I need to make a cutout right here because as it stands I can't open that latch. It used to be just below the latch, that was by design, but the design has changed, so gonna basically just cut a little cutout here, fold the carpet back, make it look all nice, and go from there. Alright, so I went out to the store, got them cut down. This ended up being, was it 51 3/4 inches? And then I've also put a single stringer in on this guy. Little guy to connect it. This one was 26.5. I've got another one, but we're going to put that on once we get the lid on. Alright, so that's going right there. Got this guy, and what I'm going to do, my clamp right there, and I'm going to make this one just perfectly flush with the edge of the lid. And I'll measure that, make it the same on the other side, and then for this section, which is going to have the fixed piece, I'm going to just take some of the scraps that I have that are a little too short and screw it to that one to pair it together. And so we'll have a double thick piece right here, and that should do it. It looks like I am at 40.25 to the inside. I'm going to put a screw in there, and then we'll set the other side to 40.25. Alright, so now I've got to figure out the hinges on this. I do already have hinges in there, but I'm going to have to pull them out and reposition it because the last piece right here doesn't really go all the way to the seat, so the hinge is kind of in a different spot. And what I think I'm going to do is rearrange it just a little bit, and it'll actually, instead of hinge like this on the 2x4, it'll still hinge here, but like a tiny little tail of it is gonna angle down. That looks like it'll be the best option for this. And here we go. Now it's completed. So I've got a nice little notch for your hand to reach in. And it also doubles as somewhere you can pull it up. I got it just kind of folded and stapled on the back side. We've got the hinge going on. Basically, I've just got a 2x3 attached here with a hinge right here, and it hinges down and away. That seemed to be the best way of doing it because then I can screw that 2x3 to the top, and it's a lot more secure than before, because before I had it through the top, in through the hinge into a block of wood, and that kind of worked, but having a little bit more of a framework is definitely a little more reliable. So yeah, something tells me it's probably going to rattle around while I'm driving, so I may stick some screws in there. But I do want to keep this pretty modular so I can take it in and out. So I might actually use like some toggle clamps to hold it in place, or maybe some sort of bungee from the top to like maybe an eyelid on the bottom to hold it down. But for now, I'm gonna, let it be how it is and enjoy it. And if it drives me insane, then I'll make it quiet. And that's going to be it for today, so I'll see you next time, and thanks for watching. Now, I'm just going to keep it at that, front to back. Then we are going to measure the up and down again, and then we can put, oh, fucker.